Welcome to today's Audacity tutorial. Today we're going to put together a podcast for my classroom. I have a new Audacity project open here. First, I'm going to record the intro to the podcast. To begin recording, you click the record button, which is right here in red. Welcome to today's podcast entitled Water Wars. Have you ever wondered where the water you drink comes from? Today we will discuss this subject in detail. Come join me on this water adventure. All right, so then I'm going to cut off this last part because it's just the click of my mouse. So I'm going to click and I'm going to hover over until I get this, the two arrows, and then I'm going to move this over and that cuts it. I could also cut the beginning off if I want to not have so much empty space, and then you can click and drag over. I also have intro music that I want to play while this introduction reads. So I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go to File, Import, Audio, and then I put this in an Audacity folder in my documents. So here's my intro music. I'm going to double click, and there's my intro music. Now, let's note, this intro music is really long and is really loud. So I'm going to cut it to the right length by, again, get the two arrows and then cut it to the right length. There we go. And then I'm going to need to turn it down. So I'm going to click on this this bar at the top, and then I'm going to go Effect and Volume and Compression, and then Loudness Normalization. And then it usually comes up at -30, which I'm going to preview and make sure it sounds right. Okay, so I'm going to hit apply and see what happens. Okay, if this is too quiet, you can go Control Z and it will undo your change, and then you can start again. What you want here in background music is, you see these, the waveform up here, you want your music to be under your quietest waveform when you're talking. So like this waveform right here is pretty small. And so I want the waveform here to be about the same size as the smallest while I'm talking waveform. Okay, so I have my music and I'm going to play this just to see what it sounds like and make sure that it sounds correct. It sounds like I want it to. So I'm going to unhighlight here and then I'm going to hit play. Welcome to today's podcast entitled Water Wars. Have you ever wondered where the water you drink comes from? Today we will discuss this subject in detail. Come join me. Okay, I can hear myself talk, so that's good. I might even turn it down a little bit more, but it sounds pretty good. I'm going to fade in this music and then I'm going to fade it out. So I'm going to highlight this first part and I just want to fade it in over the first second or two. So I'm going to highlight that by clicking and dragging over this section, and then you go to Effect, Fading, and then I'm going to fade in. I'm going to fade that in. All right, and then I'm going to listen to it real fast. Welcome to today's podcast entitled Water. All right, and then I'm going to also fade it out. So I'm going to fade it out from here to there. Again, you go to Effect, Fading, and then I'm going to fade it out. All right, I'm going to listen to this whole thing and make sure it sounds like I want it to. Welcome to today's podcast entitled Water Wars. Have you ever wondered where the water you drink comes from? Today we will discuss this subject in detail. Come join me on this water adventure. I would then record my next section by hitting the record button, but I actually have it, so I'm going to paste this here. Okay, and so that's my next section. So then I have another sound that I want to add, and I'm going to add it by going File, Import, Audio, and then I think it's this one. Okay, now every time you import another audio file, it's going to create a new track. I'm going to drag this one up here, and then I'm going to delete this track by hitting the X right here. Okay, so this one is a tap turning on, and I only really want the first part of this, so I'm going to look for that double arrow and cut this right here. And then I'm going to move this section over so that the tap noise finishes before I start talking. So now I'm going to listen to it and see what it sounds like.
When you turn on the tap, it may seem that an endless supply of fresh water comes out, but Earth's freshwater supply is very limited.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but right here, you have to hit stop. You can't hit pause. You have to hit stop before you can edit. Okay, this is really loud, so I'm going to turn it down. Effect, volume and compression, loudness normalization. I'm going to turn it down. That seems good. Okay. Yep, just a little bit. Okay, and then if you want these to overlap even a little bit, you have to put this on the second track. So I put all of my narration on the first track and all of my sound effects on the second track. Here is my finished project that I did. I'm going to zoom out some. And so you see all of my narration, and then like this is a sound effect. So we're going to listen to this little part right here.
And precipitation are balanced. Just as all the water in a bathtub flows toward the drain.
So notice that I turn this sound down like a lot so that you can hear me talking over it. And that's about it. When you're finished importing all of your sounds and putting this all together, turning the volume down, all of those things, you're going to want to export it. You can save it as an Audacity file so that you can open it back up in Audacity by going to File, Save Project. But if you need it as an MP3 or a WAV file, you're going to need to go to File, Export, and then you export it as an MP3. Then you hit Save, and it will export as an MP3.